guys, how you doing? Do you guys have maybe things with barcodes on them that I can memorize?
Yeah, I have water.
That's perfect, yeah.
I have some cards.
Cards, awesome.
Sunscreen.
Let's start with the water bottle.
The average human can hold roughly 7 bits of information in their memory at one time.
All right.
This guy's going to try and learn 30 in less than 30 seconds.
All right.
I don't know.
All right, perfect. So we'll start over here with the water bottle. It was 4902251743. The cards is 7385400092. And then the suntan lotion, it's 5440225048. Awesome. Thank you guys.
This man is Nelson Dellis, one of America's top mental athletes. But is he the best? We're about to find out. Welcome to the 2013 USA Memory Championships. A grueling 8-hour marathon of mind-bending mental gymnastics.
You might think it's just a bunch of nerds and geeks, but this is a competition.
Get ready to learn the tricks of the country's memory masters.
Without this system, I could not memorize an 800-digit number.
But at the end of this competition, only one brain will be left standing. It's 8 a.m., and 50 of the country's top mental athletes are arriving in New York City for the biggest competition in their sport.
I've been training hard for the last 8 months. Over the past few weeks, I've been cranking it up, maybe 6 to 10 hours a day.
It's a big day. We're all here to be king of the nerds.
This is the 16th annual USA Memory Championship. Every year, mental athletes square off over 9 hours of grueling competition. After 4 preliminary events, the 8 highest overall scores advance to the finals, where they go head-to-head in 3 elimination rounds. The last person standing is crowned U.S. Memory Champ.
The memory power in the room today is enormous.
With 4 champs returning and a class of rising stars, this is the most competitive field in USA memory history.
I think this is maybe the strongest competition ever. We got several new people who, at least they talk big, so.
The young guys may talk the talk, but 2-time champ Ronnie White walks the walk.
Ronnie White is an amazing competitor and a great mind.
He's a character. He's big, loud, Texas. He'll be in the finals for sure.
Last year, I didn't train at all. I just had a theory. I'm just going to go in there, have fun. I put Doritos and gummy bears in my underwear, and I came in second place.
Now he's got his sights set on capturing another memory championship.
I've held the records. I've been the 2-time USA Memory Champion. I've proven myself. I'm a very competitive person, and I'm going to win.
The first preliminary event is about to begin.
They give you a sheet with 117 names, and after 15 minutes, they give you the same faces back, but in a different order. And then you have to fill in the names with correct spelling.
A good score for these mental titans is to recall 100 out of the possible 234 first and last names.
I think this might be one of my strongest events this year.
So last year for Names and Faces, I did about 163, I think. So I'd like to beat that. I think I can if I pace myself right.
However, the person to beat in this event is the strong man of memory, Michael the Tank Glantz, who has given a whole new meaning to the term brain power.
In the event for Names and Faces, I ended up with 175 names memorized, which is an international record.
You heard right. Last year, he memorized 175 names in just 15 minutes. The key to Michael's success? A training regime that includes both physical and mental workouts.
With weight training and memory, it's not something that you can just give up. The brain is a muscle, and you got to keep working at it, or else you're going to lose it.
During your lifetime, your brain will shrink 10 to 15%. But fear not. Studies show that physical and mental exercise can help reverse the effects of aging by jump-starting the process that creates new brain cells.
Lifting, there's only one thing on my mind, and that translates over into memory, where I just have that one thing to focus on. Nothing else matters at the moment. And I'm out for blood in this event.
And this is the moment Michael has been training months for.
Mental athletes, you may begin.
The ability to read faces is so important to our species, we've evolved a region of the brain that specializes in it, the fusiform face area. But we're much better at noticing faces than remembering them. Our brains even fool us to see faces that do not exist. Check out the front of this car. What do you see? Exactly. That's your brain giving facial recognition priority over what you are actually seeing. So how do mental athletes match 117 faces to names? By using a special memory technique and lots of practice.
To memorize names, faces, pick a feature on the face that stands out to you most, accentuate that feature, and then you're going to pick the person's name, linking that name to that feature.
Let's use this photo for example. Jack's distinguishing characteristic is his colorful hair. So when you look at him, you might picture a rainbow. Then you can connect that to his name by picturing a baker holding a jack of hearts while sliding down a rainbow. Try memorizing a few of the names using this association technique.
Time is up. Moderators, please collect the papers and switch them with a blank.
Just how many names can you remember?
You may begin. Time's up. Heads pencils down.
Like I said, it takes practice. But don't give up, because I bet you still remember this guy's name.
I got the cue and I'm like, Quincy! Yes, it's Quincy! Which one was it? Maybe it was that one, maybe. Quincy.
The names were hard this year. I mean, there were no Smiths, you know.
I think I did all right. It's kind of a weird batch this year. There was a lot of weird spellings in the names.
Only the top 8 mental athletes advance to the championship rounds, so these first scores are crucial.
Fourth place with 108 is Ronnie White. The next, Nelson Dallas is done with 162.
Reigning champ Nelson Dallas tops the leaderboard with an impressive 162 names recalled. Michael Glantz finishes second, but it's still early. And former champs Ronnie White and Ram Kohli are within striking distance. Being on the leaderboard is nothing new to Ram Kohli. Over the last decade, this perennial challenger has been to more finals than anyone.
I'm Ram Kohli. I'm the 2005 US National Memory Champion.
Ram's road to the Memory Championship began 8,000 miles away in Hyderabad, India, where as a young boy, he would memorize pages from books.
I started looking at a book and I said, okay, let me just memorize these 4 pages. And my parents were totally caught off guard of how I could do this.
While attending graduate school in the US, he learned about the Memory Championship. Just 2 years later in 2005, he captured the title. But the last 8 years have seen one disappointment after another, as Ram's continually come up short in his bid for another championship.
It's been frustrating, and that's been part of the motivation this year to go back and compete and try to win it all.
The second preliminary event is about to start. Competitors have just 5 minutes to memorize a computer-generated sequence of 500 randomized digits. The clear favorite in this event is the Michael Jordan of memory, reigning champ Nelson Dellis.
Nelson Dellis is a god among men.
Nelson Dellis, he's at a different level. At a different level.
A former B student, Nelson was inspired to learn memory techniques because of the illness of a loved one.
The main reason I got interested in memory training was because my grandmother had Alzheimer's disease. I was inspired to really train my brain so that wouldn't happen to me down the road.
At last year's championships, Nelson set a U.S. record by recalling 303 digits in order. That's like memorizing 43 phone numbers in just 5 minutes. How did he do it? By mastering a centuries-old memorization technique known as PAO, Person, Action, Object.
Person, action, object is a system where you take numbers that represent a person, action, or an object, and you combine them into one mental picture.
Our brains are wired to recall visual images, not numbers. So by converting a string of digits to a vivid mental picture, it makes it easier for our brain to remember them.
So I have a mental dictionary of 1,000 people, and from 000 to 999, I've given each of those persons one of those digits. I have an action associated with those guys, as well as an object. For example, 34 is Shaquille O'Neal. His action is dunking, and his object is a backboard.
This system allows Nelson to convert strings of digits into easily memorable images. By converting the first 2 digits into a person, the next 2 into an action, and the last 2 an object.
For example, 48, 66, 31. 48 is my dog. Then I look at the next 2 digits, 66, which the person is Satan, but his action is setting fire to something. And then the last 2 digits, 31, which is a redneck hillbilly guy playing the banjo, but his object is a banjo. So I throw that into the mix. So I have 48, 66, 31. It's a dog setting fire to a banjo. One memorable image.
It took Nelson months to come up with his personal set of 3,000 people, actions, and objects. This dedication to training could be the key to capturing another memory title.
Mental athletes, are we all set and ready? You may begin.
Just one misplaced digit could mean the difference between advancing to the finals or going home. It's 10 a.m. and America's top mental athletes are 90 minutes into the ultimate brain marathon, the USA Memory Championships. Defending champ Nelson Dellis has grabbed the early lead, but this is still anyone's game.
Time is up. Paper's over.
Competitors just had 5 minutes to memorize a list of 500 computer-generated numbers.
You have 10 minutes for recall. You may begin.
Your brain has more storage space than you could ever fill. During your lifetime, it will stockpile over 1 quadrillion pieces of information in your memory, more than 1,800 times the amount a personal computer can hold.
Time is up. Paper's over. Moderators, please collect the memorization sheets.
Did you do better?
I think so. I think I nailed it.
Nice.
Unless I misread something.
I think I scored 120 points, unless I encoded something wrong, because I definitely remembered all of my images, saw everything crystal clear that time.
Oh, I know I did my personal best in it, so I'm happy about it. I think it does place me in a good running for top 8.
The scores for speed numbers are in, and Nelson recalls 302 numbers, more than twice as many as the nearest competitor, and just 1 shy of his U.S. record. He now has a commanding lead in the overall competition. Chief rivals Glance, White, and Coley are right behind him. Up next is the round that many claim is impossible to train for.
In the poetry event, we're given a previously unpublished poem that's 50 lines, and we have to memorize every part of it in 15 minutes.
Your 15-minute time period begins now.
mental athletes must rely on good old-fashioned rote memorization. And between words, capitalizations, and all punctuations, there are 675 different characters to memorize in this poem. The favorite in the poetry event is Michael Glantz. To keep his mental muscles strong and training rhythm steady, Michael is taking poetry practice to a level even more difficult than the competition requires. Rather than just transcribe an original poem from memory,
hi everybody, welcome to the cafe this afternoon.
Michael aims to recite it aloud.
Today we are doing a different type of poetry reading that involves on-the-spot memorization, and in the audience we have Michael Glantz, who is a national memory champion at memorizing poetry. And now Nicole will be reading the poem that Mike will be memorizing.
Wanderers by Walter de la Mare. Wide are the meadows of night, and daisies are shining there.
You know, there's the basic coffeehouse noises, people tapping away on computers, turning pages, talking. It's adding that much more pressure onto me.
Fair are the blossoming meads of delight, through which we stray.
All right, let's do this. Wanderers by Walter de la Mare. Wide are the meadows of night, and daisies are shining there, tossing their lovely dews, lustrous and fair. Lustrous and fair. Give me a minute. Tired in their silver, they move, encircling, whisper and say, fair are the blossoming meads of delight, through which we stray.
I thought I did pretty well. My competition should be really nervous.
Time is up. Moderators, please pick up the recall poems.
After the poetry round, the top of the leaderboard looks the same. However, former champs Ram Kohli and Ronnie White have dropped and now are in danger of falling out of the top 8. Will these legends hold their spots in the top 8 and advance into the finals? It's all in the cards.
The rules of the speed card event are they give you a shuffled deck of cards. After 5 minutes, they'll take away the deck and give you an unshuffled deck. Then you have to put that unshuffled deck in the order of the shuffled deck, and the winner is determined by the least amount of time used.
21-year-old Michael Mirski currently holds 4th place, but he knows just one mistake in speed cards could send him home, so he spent every possible free moment practicing.
The moment that you understand that your mind is really good at converting information to more visual stuff, it's very much like a mind-blowing experience. Your head actually starts to hurt. And like that's actually a signal that you're learning, that your mind's kind of like warping in like a way to like learn new material.
Even though Michael's barely old enough to buy a drink, he's a seasoned memory vet who has been honing his craft for years.
I started to learn how to memorize a deck of cards when I was in high school. It was more so just kind of for fun. It was like a hobby. Whenever I walk to class, I actually bring a deck of cards with me, but I found that that's the best way to kind of like tap into distractions. What motivates me for the competition? It is the competition itself.
Mental athletes, you may begin.
Michael Mirski is just one of many successful 20-something mental athletes who have experts believing that the Memory Championship is a young man's game. Why? Because by our late teens, our brain's recall ability begins to diminish, and after the age of 30, neuron loss rapidly increases. But 39-year-old two-time champ Ronnie White intends to prove that the brain can age like a fine wine.
I feel like I'm representing every guy out there who feels like he's getting too old, you know. Everybody's 15 years younger. I'm not over the hill, you know. The pacemaker hasn't been put in yet, you know.
But at 39, are Ronnie's best years behind him? Maybe not. Because Ronnie's doing what he can to fight off the effects of aging on the brain, including getting a proper night's rest. Because that's when memory consolidation, the process of forming and storing new memories, takes place. And most important of all, he keeps his brain active. For the speed card event, Ronnie relies on the PAO system. he spent months in training, assigning every card its own person, action, object.
So for the Jack of Clubs, I have Billy the Kid robbing a bank.
But to remember the exact sequence of cards, Ronnie uses an extra trick mental athletes call a memory palace. He imagines each person, object, and action in a place he knows well.
We're all familiar with our homes. All of us can walk around our home in the middle of the night with all the lights off and not bump into any furniture because we've already memorized it.
Ronnie mentally plants each image along a specific path that he already knows like the back of his hand. To recall the sequence of cards, he mentally retraces his steps and sees those images waiting for him.
The next card is the Five of Hearts. That's Neil Armstrong. Five of Spades is Whispering. And the Seven of Hearts is Water. So right here, I have Neil Armstrong whispering to water on my couch. As I see each card, I think of the picture, and then I place those pictures on the furniture.
This centuries-old memorization technique could be the trick that brings Ronnie another title.
America should be pulling from me just because I'm just an average guy. You know, I'm not a savant. I'm not a Rain Man. I'm just a guy who used a system and practice.
Meet Brad Zupp, entertainer, loving husband, contender for the USA Memory Championship. In 2009, Brad entered the Memory Championship for the first time and finished 29th. But through hard work and practice, he's improved every year, including a 5th place finish in 2012. While he uses the same memory technique as other competitors, the secret to Brad's success may just be his other half.
My wife is wonderfully supportive. In fact, she helps me motivate myself when I'm home from a day of doing workshops. How's it going?
Hey there, good, how are you?
Good.
How'd your training go today?
I haven't gotten to it yet. I'll do it after your folks leave.
What would happen if you did it for them here to help simulate the stress of all those people in the competition?
A lot of pressure.
It is, but it'd be good for you, right?
Do you think they'd mind? They wouldn't mind.
They would love it.
All right. How about I memorize a deck of cards for them because I do need help with the pressure. The biggest impediment to memory is stress. At the USA Memory Championship, being on stage is hard.
The dreaded S word, stress. Not only can it cause you to sweat or your heart to race, it can also make you forget things. When stress occurs, the body reacts by secreting stress hormones into the blood. An excess of these hormones can impair the hippocampus by preventing you from being able to form a new memory or retrieving an existing memory.
Hey, how you doing?
Is dinner ready yet?
It's almost ready, but I was wondering if you'd help me out first.
Sure, how?
Well, I was thinking I would like to memorize a deck of cards in front of you.
You've done that dozens of times.
That would simulate more pressure. You want me to juggle while recalling the deck of cards?
Yeah.
That'll make it much more stressful, but that's what we're trying to simulate, so I'll try that.
What, do you want to win this thing?
I want to do the best I possibly can, so the more pressure we can put on, I guess that's better. 9 of spades.
Yep.
9 of diamonds.
Yep.
While juggling makes Brad's task more difficult, it also provides a terrific mental workout that increases the size of his brain.
10 of spades.
A recent study showed that people who learned how to juggle saw parts of their brain grow. Jugglers had more gray matter, which consists largely of the nerve cells in the areas of the brain which process visual motion information.
4 of hearts.
Yeah.
8 of hearts.
Yep.
2 of clubs.
Yep.
6 of spades.
Well done.
Thank you for your help, guys. Getting better. Maybe that'll help at the U.S. Memory Championship. I'd be pretty devastated if I didn't make the finals. I try to walk the talk, and I want to show people that memory can be improved, and I've done it. And here's the proof.
With the memorization period over, the mental athletes now have 5 minutes to place their deck in the correct order.
You may begin.
now compare their deck with the original deck to see if they match.
Check your cards against your moderators.
Oh my. I switched.
For former champ Ronnie White, a perfectly matched deck will cement him a spot in the championship round. But one wrong card could send him home. Four hours ago, 50 people began battling for the title Best Memory in America, but only 8 will advance to the afternoon events, and 2 former champions are dueling for the last spot. Chester Santos's deck is a perfect match, and for the moment, he moves into the coveted 8th and final spot. However, if Ronnie White's deck is a perfect match, he will reclaim that last position and advance to the championship rounds.
I just made 2 silly mistakes. I knew it was the 7 of spades and the 10 of clubs, and I reversed them. I'm very disappointed. I'm very, very, very disappointed.
The Elite 8 is finalized, and it includes
Nelson Dallas, David Kutz, congratulations, Michael Glantz, Noah Eric, Michael Mursky, Johnny Briones, Liam Coley, Chester Santos, all the way from San Francisco.
For 2 of the remaining athletes, this is their first trip to the Elite 8. But for 7-time finalist Ram Kohli, this stage has become like a second home. Experience has taught him how to handle the pressure, which will be a huge advantage in the first championship round.
Words to Remember is one of the more exciting events. We're given about 200 words and 15 minutes to memorize. The 8 of us sit in randomized order and then recall one word after another. It's tricky because your first mistake, you're gone.
Before this year's competition, Ram set out to recreate the pressure of performing in front of a live audience by practicing at the Santa Monica Pier.
So I need like 10 words from each of you. I'm going to try to memorize them in about 2 minutes. You guys done? Yeah. All right, let me get those from you. All right, let's try the recall now. I think the first word got erased a little bit. I think it's cruiser.
Yes.
All right. Albatross.
Yes.
Kangaroo.
Yes.
Monopoly. Warrior. Truck.
Yes.
Radio. 18 is gloves.
Yes.
Shark. And keyboard.
Yes.
Ram nails 29 out of 30, a good score for the boardwalk. But at last year's memory championship, 70 words were recalled. So if Ram wants to recapture the title, he's going to have to step his game up. It's time for the first championship round. After a 15-minute memorization period, the mental athletes will now take turns reciting the words in order. The first 3 to miss a word are knocked out.
Asparagus.
Asparagus is the correct first word. Worship. Worship is the correct second word. Nelson.
Dragon.
We've got it.
Mineral.
Mineral is correct.
Ostrich.
And we're moving along.
Instrument.
And we keep going here.
Ego.
Ego, and we're over to Chester.
Knapsack.
Knapsack gets us our first round of 8 words, and that brings us back around again.
Keyhole.
Crayon.
Joy. Admission.
The Elite 8 sail through the first 70 words without skipping a beat.
Correct.
Zoo.
Zoo, that is 10 rounds of words. We've now got 80 words. This is the furthest we've ever gone.
Etiquette.
Etiquette gets us over to Johnny.
Zest.
Zest, back to you.
Gargoyle.
Gargoyle is going to move it over to you.
Apricot.
Apricot gets it back to Mike again.
Jet.
Jet gets it now over to Noah.
Inquire.
That is not the correct word, so we're going to ask you to please walk down here for us. You got to pick that up for us.
Sneeze.
Sneeze is going to keep this going.
I didn't go that far.
Oh, Chester! Oh, one down, Chester.
86 words recalled.
Sneeze. 86th word. Sneeze. And we'll go now back to Ron.
But is word 87 the end of Rom Coley's championship dreams? The mentally draining Words to Remember round has already claimed 2 victims at the USA Memory Championship. And now, at word 87, it appears 2005 champ Rom Coley's quest for an elusive second title may be coming to an end.
Inquire.
You got it. So we're going to keep this going to Johnny.
Noon.
Noon gets us back to Nelson.
Paddle.
Paddle moves this back over to you, Dave.
I have absolutely no idea.
You have absolutely no idea. Thank you. Congratulations.
90 words memorized was one too many for high schooler David Cutts. He's eliminated, and we are down to the final 5. 2005 champ Rom Coley, first-time finalist Johnny Briones, 2-time defending champ Nelson Dellis, past finalists Michael the Tank Lance, and UPenn prodigy Michael Miersky. As the championship rounds progress, the events only get tougher. And next is the perfect storm of memory challenges.
The 3 Strikes event is based on 6 audience members coming up to the stage and reciting a bunch of information about themselves, from their phone number to their favorite foods, just a bunch of information thrown at you. Then the competitors, they come out at the end and they have to begin to recite that information.
When the 6 stories have been told, there will be over 150 pieces of information to recall. The first 2 mental athletes to make 3 mistakes are eliminated. College sophomore Michael Miersky prepared all year for this, going so far as to use a frat party as a practice drill.
Nicole, right?
Hey, what's up? This is Nikita and Ellie.
Michael. Nikita, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
While everyone is partying, Michael is carefully committing every detail to memory.
Wait, where are you from? I hear a little slight accent in the background.
Well, I was born in Moscow. Oh, I'm actually an East Asian languages and civilization major.
I have this turtle, Samuel. I've watched it grow from this little tiny turtle to this massive hunkin' piece of reptile.
Oh, my favorite food's borscht and bigos.
Really? How do you spell that?
Bigos, B-I-G-O-S.
Repeating something out loud helps your memory because it's using several of your senses to anchor the information in the brain.
I have a bit of a nerdy confession to make. I've actually been practicing this entire night for the USA Memory Championship, and throughout the night I've been trying just to memorize your names, memorize some stuff about you. Okay, so we have Natalie on the left. She was born on February 4th, and I wish you the best of luck with the East Asian Languages and Civilization midterm. We have Nicole, born on May 17th. She's going to be going to Virginia for spring break. Sasha, when you go home, ask your mom to make some borscht and bigos. Annabelle, it was a pleasure. Say hello to Samuel when you get home.
Oh my goodness!
You remembered everything about me. That never happens. It's attractive, it's hot, and it's unforgettable.
Will Michael's training pay off? It's time to find out as the 3 Strikes event begins. With all 5 finalists paying rapt attention as 6 strangers are set to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Milana, and I was born March 13, 1987.
My hobbies are astronomy, cooking, and yoga.
I have the most adorable little dog. He's a beagle.
And my favorite car is 1999 Dodge Viper.
the final guest takes the stage, listen closely and see if you can remember his information.
Hi everyone, my name is Herbie Clancy William. My birthday is May 3rd, 1983. I am from Bethlehem, PA, 18025. My phone number is 212-6122. My favorite pet is a macaque parrot, blue and yellow. Shockingly, I called it cat food. My favorite hobbies is playing basketball, reading a book, and I like collecting cards. My favorite car is a 2012 Acura TL. Favorite food is rice and chicken. I love apples and I love bananas.
Mental athletes are now given just 5 minutes to memorize the information they just heard.
My birthday is July 9th.
My phone number is 705. I love improv.
Chinese lobster.
And we'll finish it off with some white cheddar
I
popcorn.
live in Florida, New York.
My car is 2010.
Okay, guys, time's up.
It's time to see what the mental athletes remember.
Your name is Kaya Ashley Stein.
Your birthday is July 19, 2004.
Yes.
Go ahead, it's over to you, Michael. Her residence.
15 seconds.
I want to say Manhattan, Kansas.
No, Michael's got his first strike.
Not only do these mental athletes face the challenge of recalling over 150 facts, they must now battle brain fatigue. They're pushing their minds to the max, and overworking the brain can cause neurons to become less responsive, resulting in short-term memory becoming unstable. And in this competition, that could spell disaster.
Florida, New York, 10990.
That is correct. We've got it. Over to you, Johnny. Her phone number.
Phone number is 9868049.
Okay, it's back over to you. You're going to tell us what her pet is all about.
Is it a brown poodle named Victoria?
Now, it's your chance to test your memory. Can you recall this man's information?
You want to tell us who's standing here in front of us?
Herbie Clancy William.
You were born May 3rd, 1983.
Zip code is 18025, Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
And Michael Mursky's going to give us his phone number. Okay, that's 2 on Michael Mursky's.
212-6122.
We're good. Now we're going to hear about his pet.
Makwal. Canary named cat food.
That is not correct.
It's a macaque parrot, blue and yellow, named cat food.
That is correct. Now his favorite hobbies.
Playing basketball, reading books, and collecting cards.
That is correct. Now his favorite car, Michael.
With 2 strikes already, if Michael can't recall the right car, he will be eliminated.
All right, Michael, thank you very much.
I was scrambling to learn as much information as possible, and honestly, not that much of it stuck, and I wasn't even able to complete about half of it.
We are now down to 4 finalists.
Over to you for the favorite car.
1967.
That is not correct. It's going to be Ron, your first X.
1979.
All right, that's 2 strikes.
Is it a 2012 Acura TL?
That is correct, Michael. You got it. All right, Nelson, his favorite foods.
Rice and chicken, apples, bananas.
Got it. So we now go to our next guest, please. Okay, Ron, who is our next guest? And that's 2 X's on Ron.
Johnny Briones already has 2 strikes. A miss here will end his tournament.
Date of birth. Okay, March 1987.
He gave us the month, he gave us the year. It's too long?
Too long.
All right, Johnny, you're eliminated. All right.
And that ends the 3 strikes round. It's taken 8 hours and 6 exhausting mental challenges. But we now have our final 3. 2005 champion Rom Coley, 2011 finalist Michael Glantz, and 2-time defending champ Nelson Dellis. They will now face off in one winner-take-all event. Each mental athlete is given an identical double deck of shuffled cards. They have 5 minutes to commit the sequence of cards to memory. A single mistake means elimination, and soon there will be only one left, the USA Memory Champion. The mental athletes have their cards and are heading backstage to begin memorization. Any of these men could win it, but the odds-on favorite is Nelson, who recalled 2 full decks during last year's finals.
A lot of people think Nelson is untouchable, but he's mortal just like everyone else.
People say Nelson is unbeatable at double deck, but to me he's not unbeatable.
Anything can happen. It's not a sure thing.
Time's up, gentlemen. Let's go ahead and round the back.
The mental marathon that is the USA Memory Championship has reached its final leg. 3 competitors remain with a shot at the title Best Memory in America. Can strongman Michael Glantz power his way to victory? Can perennial challenger Rom Coley finally capture that elusive 2nd title? Or will the Superman of memory Nelson Dellis win his 3rd championship in a row? The answers to these questions are in the cards because competitors will take turns recalling the sequence of 2 shuffled decks. This is sudden death. One mistake and a mental athlete is eliminated.
Well, why don't we start with giving me the first card?
4 of spades.
Queen of hearts. Ace of clubs.
3 of clubs.
King of clubs. 6 of spades.
2 of hearts.
5 of hearts. Jack of diamonds.
3 of hearts.
These masters of memory breeze through the first 10 cards.
Next card.
Nine of spades.
2 of diamonds.
8 of diamonds.
10 of hearts. 8 of spades.
8 of clubs.
9 of clubs. 9 of diamonds.
2 of clubs.
4 of hearts. See, this is a tricky one. I don't know. Blanked on it.
Michael's championship dreams are over.
All this memorizing, it's a mental stress. I'm kind of feeling almost physically exhausted from it. I just couldn't do it.
50 competitors began this competition. Now it's down to just 2.
Okay, 26 cards, it's over to Nelson.
6 of diamonds. 10 of spades. 9 of hearts. 2 of spades. Queen of clubs. Jack of hearts. 2 of spades.
Nelson has made an error at card 33. If Rom can name the next card, he will pull off the upset and capture the USA Memory Championship.
Ace of spades.
I lost. I knew both decks. I still know them. It was just this moment I stepped out of my head for a second. I said 9 of hearts. Looked over at my girlfriend, gave her a little smile because she's a 9 of hearts. And I think that's what kind of put me out.
Congratulations for being our 2013 USA Memory Champion.
I can't believe it. Just won the 2013 American Memory Championship. Just feel relief, just happy.
It took him 8 years, but a determined Rom Coley has won his second USA Memory Championship and the title Best Memory in America.